Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Yo, welcome back to another edition of the Cruising Podcast. I am your host, Andrew Cruz, and it is Monday. It's been almost my bad. Just a lot of things been going on. Mostly, I don't know. I don't know. I just want to say once where you can find the Cruising Podcast is at YouTube, also on Apple Podcasts. Also, anywhere you need to find your podcast needs, that's where you can find the Cruising Podcast. Also, if you want updates of the Cruising Podcast or your boy Andrew Cruz or any day to day life, you can find me. You can find the podcast at Cruising Podcast on Instagram. Also at Cruising Podcast at Nicetown Finest on Twitter. Hold on, Twitter. So yeah, welcome to another show. Welcome to look, listen. Netflix has done it again. Netflix has done it again. Let's just put it. Yes, good stuff. Netflix finally. No, Netflix action with, of course, Thor, aka he is the lead. I'm sorry, Chris Hemsworth. I'm sorry. Let me make sure we put that out there. I understand that a lot of people probably know him from Thor fame, but let me tell you something. If you haven't gone seen this movie yet, and you liked Bourne Identity or any Bourne series in the John Wick series, it was like these two movies meshed together, had fantastic, very romantic sex together, and came out with this baby that's called Extraction. Yo, I just want to say, this movie action packed. Almost the whole movie was action packed. Like we get a little bit of a lull in the middle there, but it picks right back up. Like it's like every twist and turn. It literally felt like a John Wick. It fit really the action, the constant action felt like John Wick the whole time. It felt like the John Wick movie with kind of espionage slash trying to save a kid's life, make sure we get them through India. I didn't know Indian gangsters were this gangster though. I didn't know this. All right, the dude that they had playing the main villain felt like Pablo Escobar. That like literally that's how he went about it. He was like, what it felt like was this. It felt like a Colombian cartel mixed with African warlords because they were child soldiers. So this movie hit a lot of mixtures and like perfectly blended together. Really blended together a lot of things that you wouldn't have thought to be blended together, but it worked out. Like me, just to get Bourne Identity, in my opinion, like the Bourne series have like some of the best fight scenes, and you're watching a Bourne movie because there's always that one scene, that one fight scene where there's no music. There, all you hear is just punching and throwing and breaking of glass, all that. That's what they had this scene in Extraction. But then again, we also had a John Wick scene where where Chris Hemsworth literally used whatever he could to kill anybody that tried to get to him and the kid. Like this is how this movie was fantastic in that part. Like the action, the storyline. It got a little weird at the end, but that just means that we're gonna have a number two. That's literally what it means. We're gonna have a number two of this movie. I'm sorry, spoiler alert. No, well, it's not really a spoiler. I mean, most of these movies always have sequels to them, but this movie looks like it's gonna make a pretty good series if they can pull this off again. Like, oh man, and it was like there was no fanfare. There was nothing to like. Comes out probably the most action packed movie you ever see. Okay, bull. Yeah, I call bull on that one. Because John Wick is probably the most action-packed movie I've seen, next to Guns Akimbo. If you haven't seen Guns Akimbo yet, man, woo! Well, really any most Tarantino movies too, but this movie right here was fantastically done. You see Thor in a different light. It's just and it didn't pull any punches, and so that's what made this movie fantastic, in my opinion. It just said, look, we're gonna jump into the action genre and we're gonna blow this shit up. Like we don't care. This is us. This is ours. You know what I'm saying? This is our movie, and it was a very original idea. Except it was a very original idea with original way of going about the actions. way alone, uh, it made me a huge ass fan of this movie. So I definitely advise you to go watch Extraction. You not be disappointed. This has to be one of the best movies of the year so far. And Birds of Prey came out. That's how good this movie is. And so yeah, you're welcome in advance. Okay. So next, also, I watched John Henry. John Henry was actually sneakily good. It was sneakily good. Here's my problem. All right, before I start talking about John Henry, I understand that we have Spanish speakers, and that's cool. I understand that, but a lot of us that are watching these movies are not Spanish speakers. So if you're gonna have somebody strictly speaking Spanish the whole entire movie, can we please put subtitles? Like I know what's going on. I just would love to know what's going on. What are you talking about? Oh, I'm just hearing like I'm putting like for me, my Spanish is very limited, and so I'm trying to take like some of the words to take out of some of the sentences that were said. I was like, oh yeah, okay, like try to get the context of it, and it's kind of hard when I'm not used to hearing somebody speak Spanish, and they say everything very quickly. And it's not their fault. I ain't gonna say it's not. It's just the fault of the movie where you just don't put subtitles in it. It just doesn't make sense to me. There's going to be a large majority of people that are watching this movie, and they are not Spanish speakers. Just making sure, just putting it out there. I know I'm not a movie person. I know I'm not a director or a producer, but I'm just saying, giving full on advice from a guy that does not speak the language. Now, let's talk about John Henry. John Henry starring Ludacris Bridges, because apparently we have to call him by his name now when he's acting. So this movie was actually very well done. Very well done. It's actually based on a guy who's named John Henry for a different reason. His name is John Henry. He's not actually the fable John Henry. If you don't know who John Henry was and you're black, we have problems. Just making sure we all understand. It's one of the best folk tales, like one of the better folk tales of all time. I don't even think John Henry was based on a real person, but I don't think his name was John Henry. Just like he's kind of like he's our Paul Bunyan. So if everybody wants to try to figure him out, he's our version of Paul Bunyan. Just he doesn't chop down trees, he builds movie. You can probably tell who's John Henry in this situation. It's Terry Crews. Here, look, man, we do get one scene of Terry Crews, just one unnecessary. Wow, look, man, you in the middle of a fight. I understand you're in the middle of a fight. You can get a little hot. I feel it, but why'd you rip off both your sleeves? For what reason? Just to show off? Look, man, we know. I know. I get it. We got it. Why are you wearing long sleeves to begin with if we're going to start the fight? If you're going to start fighting, why are you wearing long sleeves then? In California, in the middle of summer. There's no way. There's no showed a serious side of Terry Crews. We don't get to see this enough. We don't see this side of Terry Crews a lot, especially in his acting. It's the serious side. And it's weird because I watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine literally almost every single day. And like you might think I'm kidding, but I watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine more than I would want to admit. But it was like it's weird. It was weird watching him be serious in a role with like kind of a comedy. It had some comedy aspects to it. Like the guy that was playing his father was pretty funny. I ain't gonna lie, that dude was funny as shit. Like when he said, "Man, I had a stroke at 52 and I lost all motor functions of my penis." Like that John had me crying laughing because he didn't need to tell anybody this story. It just like I didn't have to tell you guys. That's what happened. All right, that's what happened. But this movie was very well done. They have cut scenes to where it's kind of like cartoon / comic bookish, and then they also have a cut scene where it looks like you're looking through an old 90s VHS tape. And it was to me, this was one of Terry Crews' better acting performances. Like aside from all White Chicks. Come on, let's be real. White Chicks, where he's the hamburger guy on Longest Yard, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, a lot of his movies, he's playing a comedic role. In this movie, he didn't, like I said before, he didn't really play a comedic role. It was kind of more dramatic, and it was very well done. And then Ludacris, he didn't normally Ludacris plays a comedic role in most of his movies. He let's be real, he's been like the comedy on Fast and Furious. He's been the tech / comedy guy on Fast and Furious with Tyrese Gibson. This movie, he played a little bit more serious. He did a lot less talking. You only hear like he only got like maybe 10 or 15 lines in this movie, and that's pretty much it. You only really see him. You only see him a few scenes too. He's only there for a few scenes, and it was probably for the better. I'm sorry. Ludacris isn't like one of the best actors to me. I'm sorry. And let's be real. He's not one of the best actors. And the way he kind of talks, it kind of like, it was like, all right, I'm glad you're only in this for like 5 scenes, because first of all, you're not believable. It's just not believable. And the way he kind of talks is like, I don't know, man. It's like, I think what turned me off from being a Ludacris fan was I forgot who roasted this. Clearly reading off a teleprompter for his jokes, and they weren't hitting. Like, he's funny on Fast and the Furious because he's kind of a smartass. He's sarcastic. That's kind of where his line goes. But in like when he was doing that roast, I was like, oh, you're not actually funny. You're not funny at all. You don't know timing. This isn't good. In one of the jokes, he said the joke and said, he did this little number, did the whole pointing thing. He pointed at him. I'm like, what is this, the 70s? What are we doing here? What's next you gonna say, man? Like, what's next? Got you, Tomcat. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just had a problem with that. But overall, Terry Crews played a fantastic role. It felt like a Tarantino film, kind of, with it was a lot of gore. But yeah, I think you guys will definitely. It's not, once again, it's not a retelling of John Henry. Just putting it out there, it's not a retelling of him. It's a modern day version of a guy just really named John Henry. He just went by John Henry. And also that's the name of Steel, who is another alternate of Superman. So, and Shaq also played Steel. So and by the way, since I'm on that, and that actually was the thing that crossed my mind. Listen, I know a lot of people are haters. I know, I understand you. You're haters. I get it. Shaq was the first. Let's be real. I think, if I remember correctly, Steel came out before Blade. So technically, comic book speaking wise, Shaq was the first black superhero. Just putting it out there. You're welcome. Steel was actually not a bad movie. It was not a bad movie, in my opinion. I thought it was maybe not greatly done, but it was good. To me, it was good. It wasn't great, but it was good for the time. It was the mid-90s. It's the mid-90s. What you want? Yo, I'm telling you, he also made Kazam. We could have had Kazam too, instead of Steel. Just put it out there. Could have had another Kazam. And actually, when I was a kid, I didn't know any better, and I thought Kazam was actually a good movie. Went back as an older person, maybe like 15 years ago. No, about 10 years ago. And watched a little bit of Kazam and said, I was actually enthralled by this movie. Why was there not a belt across my ass when I watched this movie and said it was good? This is ridiculous. No, but it could have been better. I wasn't a fan of Kazam. I'm sorry. I'm not a fan of it anymore. I'm just not. I don't know. And Shaq's rapping. Actually, Shaq had some hits. Yeah, actually had a platinum record. Just putting it out there. Shaq did have a platinum record. Why am I on the Shaq rant right now? I don't know why. He was also one of the most dominant centers of all time. Let's just put it out there. Let's get it in there. But also, lastly, I've been watching Last Dance. Oh, that's why. Because I've been watching Last Dance, the Chicago Bulls docu-series. I need to watch episode 4. I need to watch that. But it's awesome to see your heroes. Not heroes. it's awesome to see people you grew up watching basketball. I started watching basketball when, around the time that, Chicago started really becoming the force that it is. I'm always will be and always will have been a Sixers fan. I wish back in the day I wasn't such a hater because Michael Jordan's the greatest basketball player of all time. Hands down. Michael Jordan's the greatest of all time. Now, is LeBron up there? Yes. I will say this as a Michael Jordan's the greatest of all time. The GOAT debate is you watch this and you listen to Jordan talk. And this is like the first time we extensively got Jordan talking a little bit more about the 90s Bulls. This is actually the most extensive we've seen him talking in a long time and very candid. He's cursing and all like it's amazing to watch. And I'm just like, why couldn't you have done this before? Like, why did you want us to hate you so? Why did you want not just the black community, but just all communities? Why did you not want us to like you? We know you're gonna come out an asshole in this movie. Well, in the docuseries. That's who you are. You are the most competitive. You were always the most competitive player in the 90s. We knew that. I mean, in the NBA. And to me, to me, I feel like Jordan could have came out with this. They could have came out with the docuseries, and it might have shed a little bit more light on Michael Jordan. It might have actually had us start liking him a little bit more because we only see you as a frivolous businessman and a terrible owner of the Charlotte Bobcats. I mean, Charlotte Hornets. Goodness, they were the Bobcats. But people like this generation. It's awesome that this generation is at home and can maybe be able to watch Jordan now and watch these videos. I understand, like, it's probably not the same. LeBron is a monster. Let's not get it twisted. But to hear what's going through his mind during some of these, it's amazing. It's great to watch the inside of the mind of Michael Jordan. It's amazing to watch. And and also to get inside of the weird, crazy ass mind of Dennis Rodman. They already had a 30 for 30 on Dennis Rodman, but for people to talk about him outside of the Bulls and just Jordan giving him props, saying that, Rodman was literally probably one of the smartest players I've ever played with. Probably one of the smartest defensive strategy, rebounder, hustler. He was probably the smartest man I ever played with. And then Rodman coming out and telling you, this is how I got prepared. Just to hear his preparation is scary enough. It was Jordan-esque. He was like, look, I know what I'm going to be good at when I get to the NBA. When I'm in the NBA, I know I'm scoring 27 points in college, getting 14 rebounds, and doing all this cool stuff. But I know once I get to the NBA, my offense is limited. There's going to be guys that's way more athletic than me. I'm going to be able to score 27 points. He said, but I know what I'm going to be able to do. I'm going to be the best defender. I'm going to be the best rebounder. And how I'm going to do that? I had ball boys sitting there shooting. I had friends. I had ball boys. I had all these people shooting. I said, just shoot the ball. He said, just shoot the ball so I can go and figure out where it's going to bounce, how I'm going to get to this position, just the strategy, just to learn the strategy of Dennis Rodman's rebounding. It was this unbelievable to listen to. He also like went to the point to where he talks about the way Jordan's shot spins. The way Jordan's shot spins, if it hits the rim, I know where it's going to go. If it hits the rim here, I know where it's going to go. I know he shoots from here, and he only's got like a probability of where this ball's going to go, and I'm gonna go track it down. He said, I know where it's going to go every single time. He learned it. That is scary as shit. And you wonder, most ultra smart people like that, or ultra focused people like that, are crazy. They're crazy as hell. Let's be real. They all batshit. We know it. It's fine though. It's fine because we got to see the smartness actually be molded into a Hall of Fame NBA player. One of the greatest defensive off rebounders of all time. One of the greatest on-ball defenders of all time. We talk about Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard's a great on-ball defender, but Dennis Rodman is probably better. Not even like no bull aside. Rodman's a problem. Rodman was a problem in the 90s, in the late 80s. Yes, he went crazy. He went crazy, and that's fine. We all go crazy a little bit. All geniuses go crazy. Sometimes I go a little crazy, but I don't go marry myself. That it just doesn't happen. I'm not gonna go put on a wedding dress, go to the liquor store, get drunk, and say I married myself. That's just not what I'm going to do. But Dennis Rodman was the one to do that. It's fine. I'm a huge fan of his. I was a huge fan of his because of the way he played basketball. Because that's the way I play. Not rebound. I'm more of a scorer. You know what I'm saying? I get buckets and stuff like that. But I would dive in the crowd for a ball. No, bro, no, you ain't got no hesitation. I'm diving in the crowd for a ball. I would. I'll dive on the floor for the ball. I would try to get as many rebounds as possible. I'll get in position. Just the way he played showed you that you didn't need to be an ultra offensive player to make it to the Hall of Fame of the basketball. It was amazing. It's amazing to watch it. And then Scottie Pippen. Scottie, what? $17 million on a 7-year contract? Hold on. This was the statistics, by the way. He was the sixth highest paid. No, he was the 102 highest paid basketball player. 102. They had the highest paid basketball player on the same team, which is Michael Jordan. 102 was Scottie Pippen, who was probably the second best player on the team overall, second best player. He was sixth on the team in that type of pay. Six on the team. Sixth highest paid player on the Chicago Bulls. Yeah, that's what happened. That hurts me. That hurt me. But you know what's crazy? We say this, right? He got that set, all that. At the end of the day, at the end of his career, he was more paid contract-wise. Contract-wise, Scottie Pippen made more money than Michael Jordan in the NBA. Now, is it Jordan's fault that happened? Yes. Jordan took way too many years off. Took 2 years off in the mid 90s, and then took about 2 or 3 years, and then played his final 2 years as the Washington Wizards at 40, and was still averaging almost 20 points a game. That's how great Jordan is. He was 40 years old still almost, and to end his career, Michael Jordan almost averaged 30 points a game. And that's with defenses being honed in on him. That's what's scary about talking about Jordan. Jordan wasn't the best three-point shooter, but you couldn't stick that fadeaway. You couldn't jump with him. Everyone said that. They said, look, once Jordan gets in the air, all bets are off. You're not going to stop him. All bets are off at that point. He might bang on you. He might get the layup. He might be nice and lay up on you. One of the two is going to happen. He might do some freaky stuff and get a layup too. He might get a foul. Like, just to watch competitors talk about Jordan, just them say, yeah, we weren't going to stop him once he gets to the air. But when he's on the ground, we got a chance. Like the Pistons. Pistons are like, yo, once he gets in the air, we lost. We lost the battle. But we're gonna fuck him up every time he gets to his lane. Every time. I remember I've seen these videos 100 times, especially when I was watching the Bad Boys Pistons, 30 for 30. Jordan got his ass beat that first series. The first series they played against the Bad Boys Pistons. And to tell you the truth, I'm glad he did, because that unlocked another that unlocked like you thought Jordan was complete then, and then Jordan said, oh, we're going up another level? We're getting physical? All right. So the next thing you see is Jordan up his weightlifting regimen, up his conditioning, up everything. He went up everything. Came back. We haven't talked about the rest of the series hasn't been talked about yet, so I won't talk about that yet. That rule to beating the Bulls with Jordan. They had Jordan rules. They literally had a whole system put together to stop one man. Ugh, it was amazing. It's just so awesome to watch these NBA players, these competitors talk about this one team, this one just Chicago Bulls, and this team that I grew up watching, and to watch it and watch them talk about each other and talk about the behind the scenes. Like I forgot I had this book of the Chicago Bulls that had like behind the scenes photos and stuff of them, and this series kind of reignites me reading that book. It's amazing. Like, oh my goodness. Just so if you haven't seen this docuseries yet, definitely, if you're a basketball fan, definitely if you're just a fan of documentaries, this is a great document. It's not just about basketball. It's like the psyche of basketball players. It's the psyche of a human. So if you guys get a chance, definitely go check out Last Dance, the Chicago Bulls. It's just, oh man. And it makes you not like certain people too. Like docuseries definitely make you not like certain people. I just wonder what would have happened if Phil Jackson got told that was his last season. I wonder what would have happened. So yeah, definitely if you guys get a chance, definitely go check out Last Chance. It's a fantastic. I definitely thoroughly enjoyed it. If you are a basketball fan and your kids are ones that's saying that, LeBron's the greatest basketball player of all time, and they were like, well, we were born at the time when Jordan was playing. I understand that part. That if that's what you're trying to say because you didn't watch Jordan play, that makes a complete sense. That makes a lot of sense. I grew up watching Jordan, and I also have grown up watching LeBron. So I can tell you, I was actually in the sweet spot. I'm practically in the sweet spot as when I was a kid. As a kid, I grew up watching Jordan. As a teenager to adulthood now, I watched LeBron. And I can tell you the difference in their games. But once they come out with a series about LeBron and his psyche, then maybe we can compare and contrast the Jordan LeBron thing. Until then, we won't know. And I wish we were. Man, I'm not even going to bring that up. So, with that, I want to say thank you for listening to the show. Daggone, I was only expecting myself to go 15 minutes, but the Last Dance jumped in my mind, and I knew I had to talk about it. But definitely, if ladies and gents, if you guys and gals, go watch Extraction on Netflix. It's a fantastic movie. You're going to have a great time watching it. Also John Henry, it might be mixed reviews on it, but I liked it. And then Last Dance, of course, definitely check that out. So with that, my name is Andrew Cruz. Once again, where you can find the Cruising Podcast is on YouTube, also at Apple Podcasts, and anywhere you need to get your podcast needs. That's where you can find the Cruising Podcast. Also on Instagram at Cruising Podcast. Also on Twitter at Nice Down Finest. And with that, big announcement. I mean, not big announcement, but announcement. Today's the start of 7 straight days of straight up content. So tomorrow I'm going to have a podcast. Wednesday I will have a podcast. Thursday I'll have a podcast. Friday I'll have a podcast. Hopefully I'll have a bunch of stuff ready to rock and stuff. A lot of news is coming down, especially in Texas and different states. So I didn't want to get political, but I didn't want to talk about the virus that everybody's been on. But definitely, if you guys get a chance to check these things out. So, also be ready for 7 days. Oh, sorry, I had something. 7 days of straight content. I hope you guys have a beautiful night and day. Don't do anything. Everyone, I catch you guys tomorrow for another edition of the Cruising Podcast. Deuces.